everyone. Welcome to 115, episode 115 of Japan according to Akil. You can tell by the way I'm talking, this is a speedy ass episode because I got shit to do. I got family time. I got commitments and shit I gotta do. I just gotta watch TV with my wife. I got a date night, TV date night. Doing a little shuffle. But yeah, so pretty much this episode just gave a quick update of what's been going on, some background information, a bit more organized to kind of compile. Hopefully I did a pretty good job of it, in a very condensed way, stating my case for why I think these next few weeks here in Tokyo are gonna be fucking crazy, and wherever you are, if you're living outside Japan, you're gonna see Tokyo pretty much hitting international news by late April, and pretty much be the main focus of international news by the end of this month is kind of what I'm expecting to happen. So I don't know, I'll break it down a bit more in the episode, but just go ahead and hopefully you can enjoy. Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 115 of Japan According to Akil. We are here on a stormy night here in Tokyo. I am going to be speeding through tonight. I'm drinking some of Costco's finest. Costco, hit me up if you like this shameless plug. But yeah, I got caught up talking to family and everything, so I'm recording a bit late. I'm supposed to watch a TV show with my wife later, so we're gonna be rushing through this episode, like really rushing through this episode. My bad about that. Again, I've just been talking to a lot of family the past few nights. Last night I wanted to record as well, but it didn't really work out as planned. I mean, good, I was talking to family back home, and another family member called me suddenly, and so got caught up in another conversation tonight. So this is just gonna be a really short, quick episode. A lot of stuff is happening here in Tokyo. I got a list, of points I really want to hit. The last episode, I was just running on emotion, things like that. The situation has kind of settled down quite a bit, so I want to make sure I kind of hit a few points that I want to hit and get you guys a lot of information, because I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty confident either maybe by the time this episode goes up, I'm recording right now on, what is this, April 13th, 2020. So, maybe possibly by the time I upload this, between this and the next episode, Japan might start getting at the forefront of international news. It might even be like one more week or something like that. But I think for what I'm seeing, the situation here in Japan, especially in the situation in Tokyo, these next 3 weeks are going to be really, really critical to decide like how much or how drastically the situation here escalates. Again, this is just going to be a straight Corona podcast. I'm just telling you. But yeah, I got a lot of background information just in case that happens. A lot of information that might get skewed from the news in your country. So I want to kind of give you my interpretation, my ear, what I hear going on right here, right now, at this moment, present in time. Before I do that, before I get into things, let me just clear the air a little bit of a few things before I get all wrapped up. Rod, our main man Rod, sent me an email about an English medical support hotline. You can check the article in the description. Japan starting English services, hotline services for foreign people from Friday, May 20th. Yeah, that's really kind of late. Really late, but at least it's there. So from next month, there's going to be English medical services for people who might possibly need it. So you can check out the article, and there's something else which I'll allude to as well in the profile, which take a look after. But all right, let's just jump into the main topic. Like I said, really don't have time to waste. I'm really behind schedule for tonight. My apologies for rushing through everything, but I just got a lot I want to get to and make sure that I hit. So pretty much on the 8th, last week Wednesday, a state of emergency was declared in 7 prefectures here in Japan. I think an 8th one, Aichi, was announced today as well. And what that means, it was kind of pumped up and hyped, and pretty much the response for Japanese people was very quite underwhelming. I was a bit thrown off by it. It kind of went a little bit different than I thought it would go. I thought that like Japanese people would really be nonchalant about everything. And once the state of emergency was announced, I thought people would freak out in a very Japanese way and be like, oh shit, and just flood to the supermarket, flood all over the place, and go into panic lockdown mode, which didn't happen actually. What happened was people kind of pretty much were like, and went along their everyday lives. Which now that I think about it was kind of something that similar happened at the beginning of these situations in other countries. But I kind of thought the way Japanese people would react would be a bit different, would be a bit more panicked, but it wasn't. And people, and so yeah, for the first couple of days, people kind of went as on as normal and didn't really give a fuck about what was the situation or what was going on. And now we're at a point where, shit's kind of starting to get a bit more serious. A few more celebrities have been getting corona. The numbers have been, over the weekend have been going up and up and up and up. In the Tokyo area, which is mainly what I'll focus on. We cracked like 100 confirmed cases over the weekend. We got up to close to 200, and it went back down a bit in the past couple of days. But you might think, oh yeah, it's gone back down. But one thing I want to really talk about is, now I was talking to my cousin earlier, and one of my best friends in the world, probably even, I would say even my best friend in the world. We grew up together, and I was kind of explaining to him that about a bit about the medical system and the way it works here in the system, and where some red flags I saw coming like a month and a half ago, which was like, I gotta get my shit together because I don't trust these motherfuckers. I'm sorry, I just don't. So yeah, let's talk about it. So first thing, a little bit of background about medicine, hospitals, things here in Japan, the way I understand it as well. Please don't take my word for gospel, because there might be some places where I might be incorrect, without unknowingly or overgeneralizing or things like that. But my understanding from my experience, anecdotal information, and what I see and hear about hospitals in a lot of different situations, this is what I'm going to give you. So let me just preface it by that. If I do get anything wrong, that comes out later that I'm mistaken, my fucking bad, okay? But let me tell you. Let me tell you about this shit. So the main thing for me to really understand where a lot of red flags about the situation went off with me, let me pull up this time so I don't rant too much. And again, this will probably bleed over into the next episode, is the background of Japanese society in medicine here, right? And generally, okay, this is a generalization, but it's kind of been true from what I've been seeing. Japan does very well with like structure. The Japan medical industry and everything in society, is very structured and very concrete. It's like, it's there. Now what that means is the procedures and service and way of doing things for handling situations is very rigid, very well put together, and it's good in several situations. The problem is Japan's medical industry, from what I see, is not good at responding to unforeseen, out of the blue situations. What I mean by that is, like, if like me, I might have said in a previous episode, my worst nightmare is having a heart attack on a train in Tokyo, because like just watching the response to that shit is like, oh my gosh, like it's gonna take you like an hour to get to a fucking hospital, because one of the main reasons is like hospitals here, like if you got your normal country, not normal country, I'm guessing the country you live in, you think if you have an emergency situation, your first response is run to an emergency room, run up in that motherfucker. Hey, he got shot. I got shot. I got stabbed. I'm pregnant. I'm having a baby. I'm having a heart attack. Whatever the fuck is going on. And they'll be like, oh shit, come on in here. Get this motherfucker into surgery right now. Japan doesn't really work like that. at all, right? Like, and there have been anecdotal stories and evidence where everything really works on appointment and preparation. And you gotta think why that is. And don't worry, I'll explain it a bit more. What that means is like a hospital, for example, if they're not prepared for you, if they don't have the correct facilities for you, if they're, for whatever reason, they're not comfortable taking in a patient, they'll refuse that patient, actually. They'll say, no, like, hey, we got a gunshot. Like, let's imagine we got a gunshot wound somewhere in Japan. But, like, or stabbing, right? Let's say someone gets stabbed and they're like, oh shit, this motherfucker's bleeding out. And, there's a hospital around the corner. Hey, yo, we coming. And they're like, whoa, 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 we don't have enough beds. We don't have a doctor on call or a triage center for this. Nah, we can't. We refuse to take this person. You got to take him to the hospital across town. And you call the hospital across town. Like, oh, we got this motherfucker. He's like, oh shit, our main doctor, he's sick. We can't take him. Like, and there have been stories of people literally riding from around the hospital. The ambulance is just cruising around, and people died because like hospitals wouldn't accept them. And what it is it's kind of a cultural trait here, in my opinion, is that in Japan, like, people, and same thing, it goes back to like you might have seen or heard anecdotes about restaurants refusing foreign people. I've been refused service to bars and things like that, like where they say no foreign people are allowed or things like that. And the best analogy I can give to it is like a let's say a nightclub or a bar. Let's say a bar, right? Hmm. A typical Japanese response to a bar or restaurant. Let's say a restaurant, make it a little bit easier, more applicable. A small restaurant or izakaya or something like that, a local place, and you walk in, and let's say they're not used to dealing with foreign people and they don't have anybody who can speak English. Their first reaction might be, no, 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 you can't come in here, right? And they might try to wave you off, like, no, you got to get out of here. Not in a forceful way, but just like, no, no, sorry, 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 no, no, no. The reason why is because, and you might be offended. You might be like, oh, fuck, Japan's racist. They don't want foreign people around here. Fuck this shit. But what it is actually is because they don't have the confidence in delivering the service level that they expect to you, they'll just refuse you, right? And that's kind of something that happens here in Japan quite a bit. I noticed, like, if people aren't able to give their standard level of service, they'll just refuse, everything from it's just like, oh shit, it's like a reaction, like, oh fuck, we can't do it, get out of here, you know. Uh, and for me, it's a big issue here in Japan because, and this is like a perfect storm for this type of thing because, you know, like the procedures for medicine and things like that, like I've seen on TV, I've watched very closely. Hospitals are like, yes, we bring the person in here and we send them to a special room and we got this shit and then we hold them down and we check them, we talk to them, and I'm like, I'm watching this shit, and this is why I was like, fuck, I gotta get my shit together, because I'm watching shit, I'm like, that works very well if you got 1 or 2 people a day coming in, you know, with possible corona symptoms. But if you look at what's going on in New York, and you got like 1,500 motherfuckers coming into a hospital with possible corona symptoms, that doesn't work, you know, and this in Japan doesn't really handle those kind of out of the box situations, and it really breaks down very easily. And I see the system here breaking down very easily. See, I'm starting to ramble already. I can give so many anecdotal pieces of information, like, you know, basically last week after I think I can't remember if I explained this last time, but you know, Japan was already running out of hospital. They ran out of hospital beds and started housing people in hotels. The thing about these hotels is that, like, I think the first hotel housed up to 1,000 people, for example, right? Because, you know, there's no available beds for people in hospitals, and they're not just gonna have people lined up in the hallways like in New York. You know, no, we can't do that. You know, we gotta have a correct space for every one person. So the solution is we got 1,000 bed hotel lined up for these motherfuckers, and we'll just put people with mild symptoms in there, and we'll have a doctor on duty 24 hours a day to check up on everybody once a day. My thinking is, well, what happens if like 10% of those people's symptoms go from mild to severe, which we kind of know has been going on. That when people have been lying down on their back for a longer period of time, the percentage of those people, their symptoms getting worse, developing pneumonia, and needing a ventilator has been drastically increased. So what happens if you got a hotel with like 1,000 motherfuckers, and let's say one day like 50 people get really sick, and then you got one doctor in a fucking hotel to deal with these people. And you remember what I said about the ambulance? By the way, I was watching something on the news, a news show the other night. I hope it's not true, but they were saying, I hope I misinterpreted what they were saying, but they were basically saying like, for people with corona, a regular ambulance can't take them to the hospital. They have to get like a special ambulance, and that ambulance takes like 3 hours to get there or some shit like that. And it's just like, oh my gosh, like, So you telling me like when all these shits really starts breaking out, like, cause we've talked about it before, how that trend line goes, like in a couple of weeks when you've got thousands of people showing up with fucking corona symptoms, not even that, even hundreds more, like the system's gonna break like a fucking plastic fork, Anyway, I can go on for that for days. Like I said, I don't really have that much time this episode, so I want to get. So for that reason, other reasons is okay. Well, I'll save that one for my last one. So another big issue going on now is the economic issue, and because the government's been asking businesses to close, there's been a lot of pushback, a lot of complaining, a lot of questioning from companies and businesses and things like that, especially the restaurant, service industries, barbershops, things like that. Pretty much everybody has been like, yo, what the fuck are we gonna do? And there's been a lot of back and forth about, the level of support and financial backing from the governments and things like that. And pretty much what's developing, and I've got an article from a few days ago there, is really developing a big battle between the governors and the central government. The central government's really taking the economics is a priority. Since the body bags haven't really started dropping, the bodies haven't really started dropping yet, so they're kind of like, well, we need to keep the economy going, especially here in Tokyo, in the Tokyo area. But the Governor Koike, is really like, yo, shit's about to get serious, y'all need to stop fucking around. We need to really shut everything down, lock this shit down, and make it a priority, and it's been kind of like a Japanese style back and forth between them. It's more like, well, I suggest we do this, and they're like, well, what do you think this is? It's no yelling or anything going on at all, but it is a big conflict. And I think like, yeah, the government kind of threw a little curveball, because the Tokyo governor, if you don't know, she ran independently and won the governorship here in Tokyo several years back, and she became pretty popular. I think she's been doing an alright job. But just before this, it was kind of funny timing. Just before this situation started, the LDP, which is like the ruling party here, who's been ruling for like decades, like 50, 60 years besides a little short time, was like, yeah, we're considering backing her for the next election. Again, it's a lot of background information I don't have time to get into, but I was like, why are they considering backing her now? And now I feel like they kind of were playing their hands, like, yo, we'll bring you in the fold if just play cards with us, play ball with us in this situation, and then in the next election we got you. But I feel like she's got enough sense to be like, yo, this situation is really going to get out of hand really quick. I mean, they're politicians. They got projections and all this shit that they really don't share with people. And a lot of the information, I was telling my wife, my mother-in-law, like, if you look at Japanese TV, now from like a week and a half ago, they started showing scenes of like hospital beds and shit like that. But, in the situation, but all they show is New York. They don't show sick people in Tokyo. They don't show sick people in Japan. They don't show hospital rooms in Japan. They don't show the situation. They talk about it, but they don't show it because they don't want to panic people, And mm, I'm really expecting in these next couple weeks, maybe even days, when we start getting the big upticks that you've seen, you know, it's just gonna get real. Another thing is, like, we might even not even get those official numbers out of Tokyo because the testing numbers are so low. If you just do some research on the testing procedure in Japan, it's so meticulous. It's not even funny. Like, again, I don't have the time to get into it, but just if you want to just check it out, check it out. There's a lot of conditions you have to meet before you can even get tested for corona here at this present moment in time, and it's just like, running out. Like, I just know it's spreading all over the place, and there are a bunch of people who have corona that just don't even know it yet, or haven't developed symptoms really, and will develop symptoms in these coming weeks, and it's just gonna get wild, man. It's just gonna get really, really wild. So, again, just is I think a pretty good article related to the central government versus the governors. Check it out in the profile. And for all these reasons, pretty much what I'm expecting to happen in these next few weeks. Now, Lord, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. I really think, like, in these next couple weeks, you're gonna see from now Japan, just like Italy, just like New York, become at the forefront of international news as, like, ground zero for corona deaths, for the corona epidemic. I think it's going to take the baton from New York and surpass New York. I was telling my wife, like, the worst case scenario you got in your mind, double it. Like, pretty much is kind of whatever you can imagine, the worst shit you can imagine, double that is kind of what I'm bracing myself for to hit the Tokyo area in these coming weeks. Again, I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm not praying for it. I'm hoping I'm wrong, but I'm not expecting to be wrong, and I'm expecting that to start really in, like, starting in late April. If we can clear late April and not just have fucking tons of body bags in the streets of Tokyo, I'll be super fucking happy. But I think we're gonna have a bunch of body bags, like, in the streets of Tokyo. I'm sorry to say it, like, I'm sorry to be the one to say this, but, like, I just gotta keep it real with you. Like, it's gonna be a bunch of Japanese body bags, like, and it's fucking crazy. So I don't know. I don't know. Like, I've been talking. The reason why I've been having long conversations, with my family, is because I'm trying to get ahead of that and really encourage them to, not encourage them. Sorry, just put information. I was just trying to explain the situation here in a lot more detail than I'm doing to you guys, and just being like, all this shit's going on. You're probably gonna see it in the news from, like, these coming weeks. I'm fine. We're good. I've been doing XYZ to prepare for this for, like, the past month and a half. We're cool. So if you see this shit, don't freak out calling me and, like, and tell I got a big family. I'm like, don't tell all the relatives, so I don't have, like, a million aunts and uncles calling me being like, oh my gosh, Akil, come home. What the fuck? Like, we're good, So that's pretty much what the shit that I've been on recently. So hopefully, that's kind of, like, hit home and everything will be okay. But yeah, honestly, I really do hope I'm wrong, but I do not expect to be wrong at all. Like, and yeah, shit's gonna get real, like, the end of April. So I don't know. So that's pretty much it. Again, sorry for the really short, really rushed episode this time, but I gotta spend some family time. I gotta spend some time with my wife, and because now that I'm pretty much on lockdown all the time, schedule family has really become the priority for me. So I'm trying my best to balance, keep myself in order psychologically, keep my family in order, spend time with my son, spend time with my wife, enjoy, like, movies and things like that. Yes, I watch the news and stuff like that, but also at the same time, I know it's important to to maintain the psychological element of things, especially going into this situation where I was telling, I was like, yo, 3 to 6 months. Expect 3 to 6 months we gonna be in this motherfucker. So get ready for it. And she's like, really? I'm like, yeah, really. So just get comfortable. So, I mean, of course, you know this, but Japan's not ready, and Japan's gonna get. I really feel like in these next couple weeks, Japan's gonna get hit really, really hard, which is what I was trying to like allude to a few weeks ago. So hopefully, wherever you are, wherever you're doing, you're prepared, you're stocked up. If you're living in Japan, get your medicine up right now. And get your shit together. Get your shit together. That's all I can say. Cause when the shit goes down, you better be ready. That's all I gotta say. So, but yeah. But besides that, I'm good. I'm good. I'm in good spirits. I'm cool. I'm really enjoy spending a lot of time with my son, getting his writing skills up to par. Having fun watching Michael Jackson videos, dancing around the house and stuff like that. So all right, y'all. I hope you're doing well. Sorry to be all doom and gloom. I just wanted to kind of psychologically prepare you guys for news you might see, giving you again the inside track of what's going on in and around Tokyo. Hopefully, I'm wrong. Hopefully, I'm wrong this time. I really, really, really hope I'm wrong this time. But if just in case I'm not, you know where you heard it first, and if you start seeing news flashes about Japan on TV, your boy is good over here, and just pray for everybody if you're a religious person. So all right, y'all, let me get up out of here. Now, I'll let you next time. Peace.